Mail-in voting is well underway in the state, where some 7 million people are likely to cast votes in the presidential race. Democrats have won 3 straight elections for governor there, and both current U.S. senators are Democrats. But its legislature is closely divided, and both parties have had success recently in statewide contests. I'm Rita Foley.
The Lebanese Red Cross says an Israeli airstrike hit an apartment building in northern Lebanon, killing at least 21 people. No immediate comment from the Israeli military, and the target remains unclear. The strike hit a majority Christian village far from Hezbollah's main areas of influence. But Joe Fetterman reports it came a day after a Hezbollah drone attack on an army base in northern Israel killed 4 soldiers.
Drones are unlike rockets. They fly on a different flight path. They can move in different directions during their flight. They tend to go lower to the ground. They are slower and smaller than rockets and missiles. Taken together, this can make them much harder to detect. In fact, sometimes they're even mistaken as birds.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is considering a plan to seal off humanitarian aid to northern Gaza in an attempt to starve out Hamas militants. It would give Palestinians a week to leave. Those who remain would be denied food, water, medicine, and fuel. Canada and India have each expelled 6 diplomats in a dispute over the assassination last year of a Sikh activist in Canada, and a wave of 6 more lawsuits have been filed accusing Sean Diddy Combs of sexual assault. This is AP News. Seth Sutel has the AP Markets Report.
Stocks rolled to more all-time highs on Wall Street. The S&P 500 rose 0.8% to build on the record high it set on Friday. The Dow came back from an early loss to add 201 points, that's about 0.5%, to its record. The Nasdaq Composite climbed 0.9%. The gains followed relatively quiet trading in Europe. Bond trading was closed in the U.S. for a holiday. In China, markets ended mixed. That came after a highly anticipated update from that country's finance minister didn't deliver the additional economic stimulus investors were hoping for. Crude oil prices slipped on worries about cooling demand from China's slowing economy. Seth Sutel, New York.
And the Nobel Prize in Economics has been awarded to 3 U.S.-based academics, Darren Ashimoglu and Simon Johnson at MIT, and James A. Robinson at the University of Chicago, for their studies into what makes countries rich and poor. They've documented that freer, open societies are more likely to prosper. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Scattered showers and storms tonight with a low temperature of 41 degrees. Tuesday, showers and storms with a high temperature of 51 degrees. Could see a bit of heavy rainfall. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature around 56. Thursday, sunny, 63 degrees. Friday, sunshine with a high of 66. Saturday, sunny, temperatures climbing back into the 70s with a high of 71. Sunday, sunny with a high of 73. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 55.
This Halloween, orange pumpkins are out, and WCPT and Team Hawkbird are having a contest to award the most creative painted pumpkin. Paint your pumpkin any color you want. Red, white, and blue is one idea. Or paint a picture of Kamala Harris and Coach Walls. Anything to show your enthusiasm for a blue wave in November. Carved pumpkins are also welcome. Take a picture, go to heartlandsignal.com, click on WCPT 820 Radio, then click the contest banner and upload your photo. Team Hawkbird will be giving away $1,000 in Visa gift cards to our winners with a $500 gift card first prize. The deadline for submissions is midnight on Thursday, October 31st. Prizes will be awarded the following Thursday, November 7th on my show, Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez from 5 to 7 p.m. Contests running on WCPT 820 are open to listeners 18 or older and residents of the greater Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, Southern Wisconsin area. 1 entry per person, 1 winner per household. Void where prohibited by law. Listeners may only win or qualify to win once every 30 days. Complete rules are available on our website at WCPT820.com by clicking the contest tab.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we drive it home. I'm very excited to share our guests in studio with you in a moment, because I just also want to start out by saying how thrilling it was to go door knocking with the Dems of Woolworth County on Saturday, and then with the Kenosha County Dems yesterday. So I will definitely be in Kenosha County next Sunday. I will be there for the noon shift. So come on out to Kenosha, Wisconsin. I keep saying like the wrong place in Wisconsin. Even at the doors, I'm like, I'm at the Walworth, Kenosha, Elkhorn Dems. It's all of them. So you can join us at their office. You can Google Kenosha County Dems and find their office. You can go to wisdems.org. I'll also be going to Elkhorn over the weekend. I'm going to get to Indiana for Bob Durant's. It's a lot of races, you guys. It's so exciting, though. So please register with wisdems.org and sign up for one of the events. I will be in Kenosha. I promised them. They asked, and I said yes. I will be at every Sunday kickoff for volunteers, and I will be door knocking every Sunday with the Kenosha County Dems every Sunday till the end of this race. So it's the next 3 Sundays at noon. So come join me. And then you can come see me. If you want to come and say thank you and support our show, we'd appreciate it. Jerry and I are performing comedy at CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook. That's this Friday and Saturday. Again, CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook. Okay, that's all my news for now. Because I'm also going to be spending the evening with our 3 guests in studio. That sounded really weird, but and they're all judges, so don't judge me. Judge Chantel Porter for the Children and Families of DuPage vote November 5th, everybody. Judge Jennifer Barron. You can go to judgejenniferbarron.com. I'll find it's judgechantel.com.
Yes.
I want to check out these websites. And Judge Leah Setson, DuPage County 3rd Sub-Circuit. This is the information on your banner, so whatever was out there, we'll talk about more about it. And your website is?
judgesetson.com.
That's SETZEN, everybody.
You got it.
All right, honors. I really don't know. Like, how do people? And I have there's a judge who lives in our neighborhood, and someone told me that she really would like me to stop yelling "Hi, Your Honor." Like, fair enough. Like at the farmers market. Yeah. Is it weird? Like if you're at the farmers market, like, "Hey, Your Honor," it's weird.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Does it seem like antagonistic when someone keeps doing it? You can say yes, that I'm being.
No, it's not antagonistic. I appreciate it, but you also, you're
in public enjoying yourself.
You're in public enjoying. You're with your family. You're with your friends. So
the honorific is to respect the law when we're in the courtroom.
Okay.
But we're not special or different or better than people.
Okay.
Outside of the courtroom, we're just Jennifer, Chantel, and Leah.
Okay. All right, Chantel.
Yes.
Jennifer and Leah. I got it this time, right, everybody?
You did. You said it just right.
If you're not watching online, you can't see that I made eye contact with each judge. Okay, so...
We wore shirts so you could see.
There we go. Well, you don't know, Jerry sent me this right when you guys were coming by. He sent me the visuals for me, so... All right, so first, let me start with you, Judge Setson. With Leah. How is it going? Last I saw, you guys were, having a great time, meeting with folks, telling your story. How's the campaign going?
Well, we're not counting down the days at all.
22 is over yet, and 16 hours. Okay.
It's going really well. The primary was a build up to the general, obviously, but it kind of made us sort of war hardened a little bit.
Sure.
So I think that we're now used to that fight, and we're ready for it. We've been doing this a long time, and we're ready to have the final decision made and move forward.
Okay. So how about yourself, Judge? Gosh darn it. I apologize,
fine.
Jennifer, right?
Yeah, the last time we were here was before the primary.
Right.
So since then, we've all been victorious.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So Leah and I each had a 3-way primary. Chantel had a very tough 2-way primary. And we all emerged victorious because we worked really hard.
Yeah.
And we all believe that the most qualified people should be in the courthouse, and the people at the demonstrated commitment to community, which we all share, but also the hardest working people. And there is no doubt we are the 3 hardest working candidates, I think, or among the 3 hardest working in DuPage County right now. And we really, really believe it's important to stay on the bench, and we're doing everything we can to do that.
Wow. How about you, Chantal?
We're excited. We've put in so much work. I think collectively, we've all been in our positions 18 months now. Me, the longest at 2 years, but I think the 3 of us as a unit have been together, and we have just made such great connections with the community, with other candidates, with those, within schools, and just different various, charitable organizations, and all these entities within the community. We have just really put in that work and made those connections, and it's really starting to pay off when you have somebody that's like, I remember you from a parade. I remember when you knocked on my door.
Yeah.
I remember when you came to my school event. So you just know that you're making an impact.
What is in contrast to other races, would you say has surprised you the most?
I would say what's really surprised me is how people are actually really interested in knowing what the judiciary does. They really, it's very rare that a person would have a judge come knock on their door and say, hey, I am your juvenile court judge, and I have all this information about what we're doing for restorative justice and helping, get resources to our community, and they're just really receptive to that because I just don't think they've had that engagement and that encounter with the judiciary.
I'm kind of excited for people to have that experience. I don't think I have ever had a judge knock on my door. And it would be weird, right?
Give us your address.
Yeah, right. Come on over.
Right over.
Right over. It's 2 blocks from the station, so it'll be easy for you after the show one night. So when you're on the doors, and you said, Jennifer, that you guys have been doing a lot of the hard work. Are you noticing? This is your? Remind me. You said this is your first. These are your first races.
Yes.
So are there moments that you just are going to remember forever no matter what happens? Because I remember when I knocked on doors, there's things that just will stay with. It's life-changing to be on those doors, isn't it? For your race.
It's so meaningful to people. People have been watching what the U.S. Supreme Court's doing. They've been watching what state courts in other states have been doing. We have fantastic laws here in Illinois. But if you don't have judges that enforce those laws and that believe in those laws, then you're at risk. Yeah. And people really care, and they can't vote for their U.S. Supreme Court judges, but they can vote for us. And when I knock on a door and say, hey, I'm your neighbor, I was president of the PTA that, your kids go to that school, my kids went to that school.
Right.
I volunteer at this organization that you're part of. And they see that it's not some ivory tower person sitting on a bench up there, but it's somebody that lives in their town and that lives on their street.
Yeah.
And that's so meaningful to people. And I love it. I love how many people that I've met and all the connections I've made.
And for you, Leah, how much, is that sort of, has that surprised you to have those interpersonal connections? And then, as Chantel said, carrying over from event to event. Is that wild?
Well, I think it's really nice, and that kind of goes along with what Jennifer was saying. We're from our communities, and I've lived in my same town my whole life other than college and law school, and you do have those connections with people, even in a bigger town out. It's a city / town, one of the biggest in Illinois, where I come from. But it's, I went to this high school, and then they say, oh, so did I. What class were you? Or your kids played in this team. I knocked on the door the other day, and I said to this lady, you look so familiar. How do I know you? And just to make the connection.
Sure.
And it makes everything local, which is important to people, and people are really finally starting to realize the importance of the local races and how they affect their daily lives.
Yeah, no kidding. And are you, because I'm trying to use, I think one of you is using social media more than the other, yes? Are you all doing the TikTok and the...
I'm the only one doing TikTok.
Yeah. I remember
I'm the millennial of the group.
Yeah, she's the youngest.
Yeah, but see, Gen X, we don't need to drop the ball on this. But when you're ready, I think you'll find, when you're ready, right? Because I just started, I did something else.
I just started.
Saturday I got 500 new views, new followers.
I don't really understand the TikTok algorithm, but you get people out of nowhere. I get Facebook and Instagram, and I get but TikTok, you just can get a ton of followers, and I'm like,
all of a sudden,
I'm like, I don't know if the content was that great, but clearly it was great.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, so when you're ready, but here's the hard part of it. This is where they are getting their news.
That's where they're getting it.
And you got to cut through and deliver your message. And so, just saying for future, you'll
Judge Chantel on TikTok.
Judge Chantel on TikTok. Patti Vasquez Show on TikTok.
Maybe Leah and I will go on Chantel's TikTok.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
We might do a TikTok after this.
Oh, fantastic. Patty sent us. I'm just getting started. I'm trying to figure it out too. But to that, when you're on the doors and you mentioned that people, the Supreme Court isn't something they can have any impact. Are people, angry? Because I don't know how you manage these emotions of, because studying the law is intended to help people. We know that there are people who do it for power and for money. And how do you reconcile the emotions you have about the work that you do and how these other people have sort of taken it to a level that is unconscionable?
Well, I think people are frustrated because they expect the laws to apply to everybody no matter what. They expect that nobody should be above the law.
Yeah.
They expect that, rights that they thought we had, that
Yes.
people have fought so hard for, should be guaranteed to them and their children. And so when they see those slipping away, it is very frustrating. And to somebody who doesn't have a legal education, they just don't understand why that these things that they thought were guaranteed and that they could rely on are slowly being taken away. So I think it's just that education about why judges matter now more than ever. Good judges who follow the law, know nobody is above the law, and believe that our rights should not be taken for granted, and that we should be, those rights that people have fought so hard for should be guaranteed.
Absolutely. You guys, folks, you have to look at your judicial information wherever you can get it on candidates. Where's the best place for folks to get information about the races that you are in? Because, they go to the Bar Association, things. I mean, like, right here is the best place, because we were talking about the candidates themselves.
Our websites tell you our whole resumes, each one of us, who's endorsed us, everything about us. And that's where I would start.
Okay, so so the websites right now for folks to visit are judgechantel.com, judgejenniferbarron.com, and
JudgeSetson.com.
JudgeSetson.com. So visit those while we're on the break, so you can catch up on our candidates that are in studio. And if you don't live in it's mostly DuPage County.
We're all in DuPage County, but we have different geographic areas in DuPage County.
All right, we'll talk more about that when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Thank you to our sponsors, Minocqua Brewing Company. Oh man, people were so excited to get those Hope Kamala Stouts yesterday, by the way.
And they're in DuPage now.
Yeah, I know.
There's a vendor in DuPage.
Who do we have in DuPage? Do you know?
Well, right next to the DuPage office, there's...
How perfect is that?
It is perfect. Carol Stream.
Excellent. So there you go. And you can get Big Dad Energy with the Governor Walls on the can. We've got we had Nope sparkling water for people who don't drink or just want refreshment. So stop by at anyone. Well, you can find out where to stop by visiting the Patti Vasquez show page. Pinned there, right there at the top, are all the Chicagoland locations, as well as the Election Connection, where you can come with me to Kenosha or Elkhorn and maybe grab a can for free anyway. Just saying. Also want to thank Warren Price at EuropeanUSCollision.com. And European US Collision over at 4080 North Broadway. You can go to USEuropean.com for more information about the great work he can do on your car. And if you're an offender bender, you know what? We should talk to the judges about being in a car accident. Maybe later.
Talk to this one. That's my courtroom.
Make sure you're safe first. That's the information I think more than anything else. Make sure you're safe first before you get out of the car and start arguing about whose fault it was and getting information.
Just have insurance.
Have insurance. Have insurance.
Call your insurance.
There you go. And then call Warren Price. Visit EuropeanUS.com for more info. And we want to thank Kids Above All. Go to kidsaboveall.org and support their mission to help children live happy, healthy, safe lives. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. I feel like I'm in a card game. I've got a triplet of judges. Like three. It's like I picked like three queens. I got three queens. What is that? It's like a flush or something? I don't know how to play cards. More in a moment on WCPT.
Around the Town, Chicago, with Al Vesloff.
My wife wants to yell at me. Jane?
Hi, I wanted to tell you, I think you said Jane Hathaway. It's Anne.
Anne Hathaway. Well, that's Frank said that. That's Fred. That was Frank, but he was thinking of you, that's why. Okay, go back to getting dressed. I knew she was going to call, because I knew she was listening, and you make a mistake, Jane will get you. So every time.
Sunday afternoons at 1 on WCPT 820.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Hey there, it's your guy Warren Price from European and U.S. Collision Repair, a division of Technocraft Body Shops. We specialize in automobile and truck repair as well as normal automobile maintenance. With our highly skilled technicians and environmentally friendly materials, we strive for quality. Call 773-248-1200. That's 773-248-1200 or EuropeanUS.com.
Got a felony. You got a felony.
Man, your road looks rough ahead, gonna be miles and miles away from your bed. The judge's words repeating in your head. Boy, you got a felony. Yeah, you got a felony. You got a felony. You got a felony. Got in trouble. Man, you're screwed. There isn't anything that they can do for you. You'll be in jail and see your sentence through, 'cause you got a felony.
That's You Got a Felony, of course, about Donald Trump. Oh my gosh. Before I don't know how much the judges in my studio want to talk about the news of the weekend. Not, there's a lot of heavy stuff out there, but seeing rally goers stranded at Coachella is possibly one of the weirdest, most surreal things I've ever seen. Are you familiar with the story?
I know Coachella. I'm not familiar with them.
Oh.
I've been knocking doors all weekend.
Yeah,
Good
same.
for you.
We have no idea about the news.
My God. Okay, I'll just give you a quick story. By the way, that I figured I'd play the You Got a Felony for our judges in studio. In studio, we have Judge Leah Setson, we have Judge Jennifer Barron, and Judge Chantel Porter. See, I got the second show. I got it nailed down. There you go. You're all nodding at me like, we'll tell her later she was wrong.
You got it. No, you're right.
Perfect. A+.
So I've been door knocking, but I have my friend Adam drives, so I have about an hour and a half between Chicago and Elkhorn to scroll. You guys, so Trump had one of these rallies, and he had it near Coachella. It wasn't actually Coachella, but the rally goers were not allowed to drive up. There wasn't a parking lot nearby. They had to park about 5 miles away from the venue, and they had to be bused back and forth, right? So the busing apparently into the event was fine, right? But on the way out there was one bus for thousands of people, and it just sounds about right to me.
That tracks.
It tracks. To
Is
me.
that to prevent people from leaving early?
That's exactly. Man, you were so quick to the point that other people are now making it all over the place because he doesn't care how you get out of there as long as he has the photo optics, and you can't. But the other thing is, if you ever when you hire a car for an event, you think, well, it was only going to cost me $40 to get there and then $40 back. What am I paying you the $300 for? Well, the time that I have to sit here and wait. My guess is that's what happened. They were like, well, why is it so good? Let's just do a round of buses, because he says he doesn't pay overtime. But this comes back to our point about when things just don't seem fair, because this has to come up so often in the work that you do. Whether it's clients that want justice, or somebody who has is being charged with something and they're fighting for their lives. I mean, you guys deal with truly life and death things, and we are more likely to come into contact with you than we are our state legislators, our federal legislators, definitely the president. But whether you're in traffic court or you're in custody court, family court. Civil court for damages or something like that. What do you want people to know? We'll start with you, Leah. What do you want people to know about your, the way you come into the courtroom and the way you want people to feel when they're in front of you?
So I'm in one of those 3 courts that you just mentioned, in family court. That was my background, my professional background. So what most people know when they come in is that I know what they're going through, not only from the attorney's perspective, but actually as a litigant. I'm myself divorced. I have 3 children. I'm a single parent. And so I bring all of those things with me every day to the bench. I make sure that people feel heard, because in a family courtroom scenario, that's one of the biggest complaints, is the judge isn't really listening to me. Now, does that mean you get what you want? Not necessarily, but everyone feels like they need their day in court just to be seen and just to be heard. And I think that's one of the most important things that I can bring to the bench every day.
And do you, in your experience, because I've asked this before, I think, something that has taught you, well, this is, because what I believe, and I guess what people would say is a more, Democrats side, is taking in new information and letting it inform what I do next, right? Are you constantly okay, that was how that went. Now I'm going to, use that experience to make sure that I'm doing the best, is what I think I'm hearing too.
Well, definitely. And the other thing is, I know enough to know what I don't know.
Yes.
And I'm confident enough to know that as well. You get to a point in your life where it's not an intimidation. It's a welcoming of new ideas. And in family law, there's so much discretion in the court. It's not so easy. If it was easy, there'd be, no judges and everyone would just do whatever it is that's so easy to do. So I research constantly. I look at the laws every day. That sounds silly.
You say informed?
I know.
What?
It sounds so silly, but there's just so much out there that there's always unique circumstances, things that don't happen in other cases that you haven't come across before. And then you know what to do in that situation. So going forward, you have that in your arsenal, but then some other new idea or issue will come up, and then I'll have to move on to that one. So it's always a learning experience every day.
You have to weather so many emotions and such a wide range of experiences. What do you do to take care of yourself? Do you work out? Do you like watching sitcoms?
I do work out. I work out a lot. I'm always pressuring them to come with me, and they won't. But once in a while, I get them to take a walk with me, so I consider that a victory.
Under duress.
What's your go-to move for workout?
Elliptical machine. I when the weather's good, I run. I ran this morning, and it's just I need it physically, but really more emotionally, and as you said, for that mental health, escape, and to recharge.
Wow. And how about you, Jennifer? Before we get to the self-care part, tell us a little bit about what you want people to know about the approach you have and being in court and having someone in front of you.
So I'm in a civil courtroom. We call it law division, and it's for money damages, and it can be $50 million lawsuit between one company and another. It could be a car accident. It could be an employment case. And I have juries that are the finder of fact. Not me. I think in my courtroom, I don't have self-represented litigants as frequently as Leah and Chantel have, so it's mostly attorneys. So for me, the most important thing for my job is to be incredibly prepared. People are writing briefs and submitting these, big, long briefs with all these exhibits. It's very important because I remember I was on the other side. I was a lawyer practicing in this kind of courtroom to read everything. The worst thing is you've labored over this thing with a very technical, complicated legal issue, and the judge is just deciding on the fly and hasn't read it.
Oh, my God.
So number one, do the work. If you don't want to do the work, why are you being a judge? So I work very hard to be prepared every day. The judges or the lawyers cite cases. I read those cases. I do my own independent legal research. When I rule, I try to painstakingly explain the basis for my ruling, because I think, to what Leah said, it's very important, even though the litigants, the clients themselves aren't always there, but their lawyers will tell them they need to know if they lost, why. Right. Why did we lose this motion? Well, the judge went through it and she applied the law to this fact in this way, and go through it so that they understand. They'll be disappointed, but they'll know they got a fair shake and that I put my full attention and time into it. That to me is the most important thing a judge can do.
And so with all that, I'm guessing it's a lot of personalities. When you're paying lawyers, it's sort of a different connection, obviously, than it is in family court. So you have, I'm not saying that you guys don't also have a lot of personalities that come in, but when it's money, is there a certain different kind of energy and intensity?
Definitely when you have a jury trial, you have attorneys putting on a show for the jury. That's part of it. It's not quite like TV. I don't want people to think it's that interesting, but it's definitely, you're telling a story to a jury, and so you tend to have dramatic people sometimes as the attorneys, and that makes it fun and unique. But at the end of the day, it's my job to put that aside and focus on applying the law to the facts, and that's what I try to do.
And what do you do to unwind? Apparently not running in the mornings with Leah.
But avoiding Leah.
I watch classic TV, sitcom shows. We're watching Bob Newhart right now.
Oh, wow.
What's
I used to watch that in the 70s. Honestly, since I was appointed, which was last February, the second I leave court, I'm campaigning. All I'm doing when I'm not in court is going to community events, knocking doors, going to political events, trying to get to know as many of the 133,000 people in Sub-Circuit 2 of DuPage County as I possibly can, because I was entrusted with this appointment, and I owe it to everyone I beat out and to everyone who appointed me to win and keep the seat.
Can you take 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes at night to meditate? There's really good, even you can even go to YouTube and just...
All right, we'll talk after.
All right, you can search for 5-minute meditation.
Don't worry about me, Patty.
I'm not worried about you. I just want to help you.
I love it. Thank you.
All right,
we'll talk.
Fine. All right, we'll talk about it. I'm just saying. Hey, Chantel Porter. So tell me about the work that you do in court.
Yeah, so I'm in juvenile court, which means that I handle all the child protection cases and juvenile justice cases. So that's families that are interfacing with DCFS us and young people that are facing criminal charges. And what I realize is when families come in front of me, they are in crisis. Something has happened and has probably built up for years that has made this family be in front of me for various reasons. And so one of the things that I like to think about is juvenile court is unique in that it's really a problem-solving court. I have this overarching responsibility to the best interest of the child. So regardless of all the different things, I always have to keep that. What is best for this child? What is best for this family? Even in a criminal context, I have to balance, right, public safety, because we need to make sure we're all safe, but I also have to balance the well-being of a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old who still has their whole lives ahead of them, and making sure that they're restored in some sort of way so that they can go on and have a productive adult life. So we're really working on initiatives that have been supported by the Supreme Court, such as restorative justice, looking into what does that look like, bringing the offender and the victim and the community together, and trying to change the course correct the life of that young person. We are looking into, we have several facilities that offer substance abuse and offer mental health, and how do we bring those partners in, working with our families, working with our young people to make sure that we're addressing why this case came into the system, and how can we send this family back with some tools, because a lot of parents are very well-meaning, they love their children, they want to do what's best, but they are stretched very thin, right? Everything's expensive, they're working multiple jobs, and they're just trying to keep their heads above water. And so oftentimes even the best intended or the best well-meaning parents, things are just falling through the cracks. And so I really try to take that approach of how do we restore this family.
And with all the experiences and the things you have to evaluate, how does that take that for all of you, the intense interactions that you have and the responsibility that you have takes its toll. That's why I want you to meditate.
And what Chantel's facing in her courtroom is a lot more impactful, I think, emotionally on the judge than my courtroom. And same with what Leah sees. So I'm kind of fortunate in that way. I don't have that.
So, but you're not running 5 miles. How many miles are you going, Leah?
Today I went a little over 5.
That's what I figured she was a 5 miler.
The last time I ran,
just for a light run is what I'm guessing.
That's fair.
Yeah. I can tell. What do you do then to balance all of this for you emotionally and?
I spend time with my family. I'm a mom of a 6-year-old. And so anytime that I get extra time, it goes to him.
Yeah.
So Friday nights, is my pizza movie night, and we are probably on our 4th watch of Inside Out 2. I know, and I'm like crying every time. That's what I give. Whenever I have that extra time, I'm giving it to my son. And that's kind of what makes me grateful with what I do and what I have.
I'm going to assign all 3 of you, though, meditation. Just saying. It's funny because usually on Mondays I have Jen Zanatti. She's our motivational, our positivity expert. And she's given us all these assignments. And so I kind of grab at one, like a cold shower. Her thing is resetting, just 20 seconds of ice cold water in the shower. How about that? Can you do that one? Ice cold.
That sounds so unappealing, but I will consider it. I will not rule from the hip. I will take it under consideration.
There you go. Love it. I'm really enjoying this conversation with our 3 judges in studio. You can visit their websites. Hold on a second. I got to pull up everything again because we have in studio with us Judge Chantel Porter. You can find her information on her website, JudgeChantel.com. That's CHANTELLE.com. Again, JudgeChantel.com. Our next judge is Judge Jennifer Barron. Go to JudgeJenniferBarron.com. That's BARRON.com. And for Leah Setson, I'm going to say JudgeSetson.com.
Correct.
JudgeSetson.com. SETZEN. And we'll talk more about their races and their careers when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Scattered showers and storms tonight with a low temperature of 41 degrees. Tuesday, showers and storms with a high temperature of 51 degrees. Could see a bit of heavy rainfall. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature around 56. Thursday, sunny, 63 degrees. Friday, sunshine with a high of 66. Saturday, sunny, temperatures climbing back into the 70s with a high of 71. Sunday, sunny with a high of 73. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 55.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT Willow Springs, is powered by ComEd. Visit ComEd.com/clean.
As the 2024 election draws closer, stay informed and connected to WCPT 820. You can also stream us live at WCPT820.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Or you can ask your smart speaker or phone to play WCPT from TuneIn. And now you have another option. For a clearer reception in and around the city, we're also simulcasting our programming overnights, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. on WSBC AM 1240. Chicago's Progressive Talk is WCPT 820 and overnights on WSBC 1240 a.m.
Save big money on your roofing project now at Menards. We have an unbeatable selection of Atlas architectural shingles. Castlebrook, Briarwood, and Pinnacle all feature a limited lifetime warranty and up to 130 miles per hour wind warranty. Choose from 20 styles in stock, ready to take home today. Stop in to shop our wide selection of roofing products or visit Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
It's Patty here, reminding you that Minocqua Brewing Company's progressive beers like Maga Tears IPA, Biden Beer, and the LGBTQ-inspired Love Wins Fruited Sour are now available at Chicagoland locations like Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Beer Shop in Oak Park, McLean Liquors in South Elgin, Beer on Central in Evanston, and My Buddies, a pride-friendly bar on Clark in Chicago. Don't forget to drink and vote responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I am joined in studio by Judge Leah Setson, Judge Jennifer Barron, and Judge Chanel Porter. Gosh, that's fun to say. 3 judges, no waiting. I don't know. You were talking a moment ago about door knocking, and all of you have been working very hard. Someone just texted me that door knocking in Wisconsin during a Packers game might backfire, but that is something that I am cognizant of. Same thing with Bears games.
Yes, correct.
Is there it's so funny sometimes. You're talking about how connecting with people at the doors, and you'll open the door and you get like a waft of like what's for dinner. I mean, it does remind you constantly of why you're doing this, doesn't it? Yeah. What would you say for folks who are not answering the door, right? Which is fine. We get it. We get it. Do you talk to the Ring cameras? Because
I do. So yes. I leave. I think of it as like a voicemail.
Yeah.
So, but it's quick. So I usually just say, "Hi, I'm Judge Porter. Came out to meet you. Give you some information about the upcoming election." And then I stick my little card in there and I say, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Excellent. Yeah. Are you all leaving the video?
Yeah.
You gotta. There's more of those now.
It's recording as soon as you set foot on the driveway. So absolutely.
Isn't that weird? Like, you think about how you're walking.
Yes.
Walk totally normal.
I mean, if I like a rose bush, I'm going to say it out loud.
Yep. I wonder, it must be different, Leah, when you say you're running for judge when you're at the doors. Do you think it's different than if you said you were running for their state rep? I mean, because
yes,
there's a different reverence already built into I want to be your judge.
Yes, and for some reason it makes people nervous, at least at the start. Why is a judge on my doorstep? I get that a lot.
We do get that.
Sometimes they flinch or they just look surprised that there's a judge. And then so sometimes I say, no, I'm just, hi. And I think someone said, are you here to do something? I said, look, I'm wearing a T-shirt and jeans. Do I look like I'm about to do anything important?
That's really fun. Yeah, it never occurred to me how much different that must be. And I love that people do have questions, and we are more cognizant of how important the judicial races are. So what are the next, I'll start with you, Chantal.
Mm-hmm.
What do the next
21 days look like, everybody? I know.
That's me clapping.
Yes, 21 days.
A lot of the same, connecting with people, making sure that our message is getting out. We're really in that get out the vote. We're very lucky in DuPage County. Early voting's already started. We have expanded early voting starting October 21st. You can vote at any polling location, regardless of your address. So it's really just vote by mail, making sure people get their vote by mail ballots, finished up and marked in. It's not sitting under your pile of newsletters and whatnot. So really just these last minute getting out, our strong voters, our strong supporters, those who still might be, I think we're very lucky. The top of the ticket has energized a lot of voters.
What are you talking about?
And so I think that's exciting. And so it's really just reminding people, don't sit this one out. And there might be, and I know at the top of the, they're talking about, well, who's undecided, who's not. And maybe you are, you aren't, but still think about going all the way down the ballot, flipping your ballot over. We're right above the referendums that, you're probably not reading anyway, but making sure that you know who your judges are. So it's really just that educational component.
And Jennifer, are judges listed by party, Republican and Democrat?
Yes.
Okay.
And in DuPage County, all the Democrats are listed first.
Okay.
Because of the coin flip this year.
Oh.
So, yeah, to pick up on what Chantel was saying, there's traditionally a drop-off between the top of the ticket and the bottom of the ticket in terms of voting. So people were
leave it blank?
They leave it blank because they don't know about these candidates and they're unsure and they don't want to make an uninformed choice.
Okay.
And that's exactly why we've all been out knocking doors, because it's really hard for people to research all this and know it, and there isn't great places to get information. So we've all taken upon ourselves. It's our job to come to you. It's our job to go out and knock doors, to send mailers, to be on social media, all those things. We're not doing that because we want to be seen everywhere. We're doing it because we owe it to our voters to get to them, and that's why we're doing it, so that there isn't that drop off, so that they do go vote all the way down, turn the ballot over. That's where my race is, and vote from the White House to the courthouse.
Nice.
That's
Excellent.
what we need.
That's right. And Leah, you guys mentioned that your supporters and getting them engaged. There might be some people who still want to help out and go door knocking. Maybe for some folks, Harris walls can also be a little intimidating if you ring on a Trumper door. But maybe folks are engaged and wanting to door knock. How can folks still volunteer for these last 3 weeks?
All of the candidates, the judicial candidates, but really any candidate at this point would love help. Like you said, door knocking, that sounds intimidating to some people, but you go with someone for a few minutes and you kind of get the hang of it. But there are other things you could still do. You could tell your neighbors. You could share posts on social media.
Get a yard sign.
I was going to say, you can offer to put up a couple yard signs. Put one in your yard, your neighbor's yard. Put one down the street at the entrance of your community. There are lots of ways, and a lot of people still aren't informed. And I just was knocking on doors yesterday. A gentleman said, well, I have a question for you. For people who aren't sure, is it better to just guess someone or not to vote at all? And I said, well, guess what? You don't have to worry about that because you have time to do your research. And if you're concerned about that, take a few minutes and research who's on your ballot. The DuPage County Board of Elections makes it very easy for you to pull up your ballot.
Your sample ballot.
You could do that right now. Go on that website, and you can see exactly who's on your ballot, because that's going to vary by area, by jurisdiction. And take a few minutes, if you don't know who these people are, to look them up. It is so important for you to do it, and I'm glad that people care enough. They just need to take that last step of doing the research.
Well, my favorite thing was that when I ran for office was when I would be standing on their porch, and they would look at my postcard, and they would say, well, I'll have to do some research. I'm like, I'm standing right here!
Ask away.
Hilarious. Good point.
Yes.
I mean, yes, research everybody. But if there's something, what are you going to research? So we can talk about that. Have you gotten I'll do some research on you?
Right. Well, I think people, just want to know where your values are.
Yes.
As judges, we're in this kind of weird gray area where, although we run on party lines, obviously when we take the bench, we have to follow the law, but we have values. We're endorsed, by organizations. We're all endorsed by labor organizations. We're all endorsed by Personal PAC, which is the leading pro-choice organization in Illinois. We're endorsed by other elected officials such as Dick Durbin, Senator Durbin, and all our state representatives. And these are people that our community has voted and elected in and trusted their judgment. So when you're looking at, who we're aligned with, who our values are, who's endorsed us, I think those are really good places to start.
Excellent. And when folks say, is it better to just guess? You hope that you're also in that exchange, like establishing those, that sort of foundation for years to come of plan ahead, just a little tiny bit.
Or if people are overly reliant on parties. Sometimes you approach a door, they want to know what party you're with, and then they say, oh, well, I'm with the other party. Well, that's when I take the opportunity, I think we all do, is explain what differentiates us from our opponent. And it's not always the ideal to just take the party approach, because you could be picking not the best candidate, which is in all of our circumstances, and many others, that's not the case. So we educate them. Just, hey, look, maybe it's not a knee-jerk reaction in right. certain situations, and explaining.
We are the Democrats, but we're also all the most qualified candidates in our races. We're the ones with the most demonstrated community involvement in our races. We're the best candidates in our races. We were all appointed to our positions unanimously by a bipartisan Illinois Supreme Court. There was an open application process, for example, for my position. Everyone that ran against me in the primary and the general applied for the job and didn't get it.
Right.
So this is not just partisan, it's also a matter of qualification and commitment to the community.
Right. So you've been vetted by, both your experience, the Supreme Court, the whole decision-making process for our judges.
Yes.
I feel very good about that. We are hanging out in studio with Judge Chantel Porter. You can visit her website. One second, I have to find the website so you can tell people.
JudgeChantel.com.
There it is. Judge Jennifer Barron.
JudgeJenniferBarron.com.
And Judge Leah Setson?
JudgeSetson.com.
Excellent, folks. Go to their websites. Have you done your homework? Do you have any questions for them? Paul, let's leave the phone lines open for the last segment and see if anyone wants to call in. I'll put you on the hot seat.
We're okay with it.
All right, 773-763-9278. Continue our conversation with our judicial candidates when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Over the years, we've talked a lot about plant-based diets and how good they can be for your overall health. Think of it as food as medicine. Well, researchers at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health just wrapped up a huge new study. It found that closely following a plant-friendly diet, mostly fruits and vegetables and whole grains, reduced the risk of premature death by nearly 1/3. It also dramatically cut down the release of greenhouse gases, which was a significantly added bonus. Climate change can sometimes be a space where it feels so hard to have an individual impact. So what should you look for at the grocery store? Eat the rainbow. All colors of fruits and vegetables. One tripwire, though. Steer clear of ultra-processed foods. Remember, being a vegetarian or a vegan doesn't automatically mean healthy. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
WCPT 820.
I didn't have that rolled up. I don't know what I did there. There we go. Sorry, everybody. I'm just overwhelmed by having three judges in the studio. See, I can't even count anymore. Judge Chantel Porter, Judge Jennifer Barron, Judge Leah Setson, all in studio with us today. They're running for re-election. Remind me what the titles of the seats are.
Right. So we're all in DuPage County. We are circuit court judges, which are elected by the people, and our geographic specific areas, I am the northeast part of DuPage. So I would have Bensonville, Wooddale, Villa Park, Glendale Heights. Did I miss one?
A little bit of Glen Ellen.
Oh, and Addison, my town that I live in. I was like, did I miss one? Yes. So I have the northeast part of DuPage. I got smidgens of Glen Ellen, Lombard, but those are my big towns.
What about you, Jennifer? So I'm Sub-Circuit 2, and even though I'm the number right after Chantel, I'm as far away from Chantel as possible in DuPage. I'm the southwest corner. So I am Aurora, Naperville, Warrenville, and West Chicago, but not all of those towns, just parts of each of those towns.
And that's Judge Jennifer Barron on your ballot if you live in those communities. And Leah Setson.
Yes, and I am South Central, so I touch Jennifer's sub-circuit, but I go east, so I have also portions of Naperville, Downers Grove, Woodridge, Lisle, Westmont, Darien, and a little bit of Oak Brook.
And now, if we don't live in your community, I share with our audience. We mentioned make sure you turn the ballot over. Make sure you're not just going in and just willy nilly. What would you say in general for folks to think about when they are looking at their judicial races?
I mean, I think the most important thing, kind of like I said earlier, is looking for candidates who align with your values.
Yep.
Looking for candidates that believe that no one is above the law, that no matter whoever comes into their courtroom, they're treated fairly, equally. They're treated with respect and dignity. They have knowledge. They have experience. I think those are sort of the qualities that you want to look for, along with somebody who aligns with your values.
And you mentioned earlier, Jennifer, that people, when they say, "Are you a Republican or a Democrat?" you don't necessarily want to vote just with straight party elements. And I believe, to your point about folks not filling in the rest of the ballot, it tends to be Democrats more than, because Republicans will vote straight down R. But, not using the party for the judicial part of it. What do you want folks to know about the way they're impacted by any judge that they vote for?
Well, it does say our party, and we are, right. And let's be clear, we are Democrats. But I think the point is that just because we're Democrats doesn't mean that a Republican shouldn't feel comfortable voting for us.
Right.
Because people in our community, as Chantel said, the three most important things are someone who's qualified, someone who's committed to the community, and someone who shares our community's values. And whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, if you live in Naperville, Aurora, Warrenville, West Chicago, their towns, you want someone that gets it, that knows what it's like, that shops at the Jewel, that has kids, that knows what it's like when you're having a hard day. And that person is sitting there in the court as your judge with all those qualifications and experience, but also knows what it's like to live in the community and gives you a fair shake. And that's what everybody wants.
Absolutely. And Leah, what do you say to folks, when you do have sometimes challenging, are you having any challenging conversations with constituents?
I am, and that, just what I said is what I talk about every weekend when I have someone say, look at my shirt and say, "Oh, you're a Democrat." And then I explain. So one of the other things that people can look at is the Bar Association ratings, because that is a neutral way of, is this person qualified? So for example, in my race, I'm recommended by the Bar Association and my opponent wasn't even rated, meaning not enough people even know this person to be able to say anything about her.
Wow.
And so that's an easy way to look at, hey, look, is this person even basically qualified for the job that they could keep potentially indefinitely? One thing that people don't appreciate about judges and our circuit court judges, we don't have to run again. We have a retention vote every 6 years. But that's an incredible, powerful thing. I should say incredibly powerful to elect someone who then essentially could stay there for life. And so if you don't know anything about these, that is on you, listeners, voters. It is on you. When you make that vote, you should know who these people are, because you're giving them a lot of power. And so that's what I would encourage people to do, is educate themselves, because you're giving someone else that power.
I agree. And I know that there have been times when I've seen candidates running for circuit court judges and things like that who have not really practiced a lot of law either. People don't realize it's not necessarily it's not a requirement at all to run. What's the requirement?
You just have to have a law degree.
That's it.
Correct.
Yeah. So to your point about someone who's not even rated is they haven't even established a record that people can examine.
Correct.
As a lawyer.
Correct.
Okay.
And the three of us are the only candidates in our races that are have judicial experience, that are sitting judges.
Right.
So that's important too.
Absolutely. We have a young lady who wants to just share her thoughts with us. Evie's on the line. Hey, Evie, how are you doing today? Is it Evie or Evie?
Hi, how you doing, Patty and everybody?
Hey, how you doing? Hey. Do I pronounce your name? No, I don't know. Go ahead, darling.
What are you going to do to control the violence?
So Evie's gets very concerned about violence. Thank you so much for calling. Let me talk to. I'll ask the judges right now. 1 second, Chantel. So she has concerns about gun violence and people hurting each other and things like that.
Well, I think we're all concerned. I'm a mother of a 6-year-old. My 6-year-old does safety drills at schools. It's very scary. I think we all realize that guns are a problem within our community. And I think, we are in a position where Illinois has good gun laws, and as judges, we uphold those laws. I think really, I probably interact with it the most dealing with juveniles who are interacting with the criminal system. And like I said before, I really have to balance public safety and making sure that our communities are safe, that our streets are safe, but also the well-being of these young people. When they are 14, I have some as young as 11, actually. Mm-hmm. When they are that young, you don't lock them up and throw away the key, right? Because what we know is that when they become adults, they're going to offend if you don't give them that support and those resources so that they can course correct and make different choices and decisions in their lives, which is why restorative justice programs and diversion programs and services to support that family are so important.
Excellent. I hope that helps, Evie.
Good.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, darling. And Joan wants to talk about candidate research. You're on with the judges, Joan. How are you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
Very good.
So, I just had a little story about how important it is to research. I'm in Glen Ellen, DuPage County.
Yeah.
I want to say, it was 2016. I researched my candidates, researched my judges, found out one of the candidates he was actively being investigated for all kinds of illegal guns and shooting his guns off in his apartment, making holes in the walls to his neighbor, pinned it on his son. It was just insane. And he got reelected.
Correct. Wow.
Sang my song to everyone that would listen. He got reelected.
Well, just so you know, that judge who you're talking about was removed by the Judicial Inquiry Board. So rest assured that there is a backstop. But absolutely, it's important to research.
Great point. Thank you so much, Joan. Yeah. Have a great night.
Yep. Thank you. Yep, you too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So each of you have 20 seconds. Any final words before we send you off?
Well, thank you for this opportunity for sure. And to all the listeners and the voters, this election matters so much. You hear it and we kind of use it as a quick line, but democracy really is on the line, and our rights are on the line, our future, for our families and our children and how we move forward. And we have the different branches of government, and what we really need is a judiciary that is going to be steadfast, that we can rely on, and that we know if all else fails, we have a solid judiciary that can essentially save this country. That really is what we can rely on to make sure that the rule of law applies. And I think it is such a forgettable branch of government, but it's really an important branch of government. So do your research, and thank you for this opportunity.
That's judgechantel.com. Judgechantel.com. Jennifer?
Thank you so much for having us on your show again, Patty. I'm so honored and privileged to run with these amazing jurists and candidates and people. And just to say one more time, please vote from the White House to the courthouse.
And that's judgejenniferbarron.com. And Leah?
Yes. I would say the most important thing you can do is vote, number one, but number two, encourage others to vote. Because if you share with other people, just think of the exponential growth of voting. More people who know, the more people who are going to vote. I tell my kids this all the time. They get sick of it. But look at people have died fighting in wars over the centuries to be able to earn the right to vote. We have it here. We have to use it. If you want things to change, you have to make your voice heard by voting. That is your power as a voter, and I hope everyone takes it and turn the ballot over. Start backwards.
Yes.
Then you'll hit them all.
From the White House to the courthouse.
Yes, please.
From the courthouse to the White House.
And thanks for having us, Patty.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
That's judgesetson.com. Thank you, everybody, so much. We're going to have Yolanda on with us in just a moment from One Aim, our mission to end gun violence. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Wonderful. More after this on WCPT at 20 Heartland Signal.
Amalgamated Bank, Moray Law, Team Hochberg, Total Dentistry, Live Nation, Genesee Theater, Local 150. These are all satisfied clients of WCPT Radio. They've advertised on WCPT and have had excellent results because our listeners are very supportive of our advertisers. If you're a business owner, get in touch today. Call General Sales Manager Steve Lessman at 847-828-4474 or email slessman at WCPT820.com.
Long day. Time to charge up.
Hey, just like my delivery truck.
Even kids know to keep business moving forward, it's time to make the switch to electric vehicles. Whether you have one van or a whole fleet of trucks, resources are available to help you make the changes that make sense.
Let's go.
Beep, beep.
Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Florida counties hard hit by Hurricane Milton returning to some normalcy, power being restored, gas stations reopening, and students returning to school. Governor Ron DeSantis on the power situation.
About 97% of the state is electrified and operational. There's about 369,000 that are still outstanding.
Meantime, Lisa Dwyer has the latest on Helene response efforts in North Carolina.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency says that disaster workers paused and then changed some of their hurricane recovery efforts over the weekend in North Carolina, including abandoning door-to-door visits after receiving threats they could be targeted by a militia. The Rutherford County Sheriff's Office says it received a call about a man with an assault rifle who commented about possibly harming employees of FEMA working in the hard-hit areas of Lake Lure and Chimney Rock. 44-year-old William Jacob Parsons was later arrested and charged with a misdemeanor. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump campaigning in Pennsylvania this evening. Trump in the Philadelphia area, Harris in Erie. In the Middle East, an Israeli airstrike hit an apartment building in northern Lebanon. The Red Cross says at least 21 killed. The target's unclear. It was a majority Christian village, far from Hezbollah's main areas of influence. Meantime, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing back against international condemnation of attacks in Lebanon that have injured UN peacekeepers.
The charge that Israel deliberately attacked UNIFIL personnel is completely false. It's exactly the opposite. Israel repeatedly asked UNIFIL to get out of harm's way. It repeatedly asked them to temporarily leave the combat zone, which is right next to Israel's border with Lebanon.
And in Ukraine, Russia says it's captured the village of Lavadna in southern Zaporizhia region. This is AP News. A protest in New York's financial district.
Police say about 200 protesters against Israel's war in Gaza were arrested in a sit-in outside the New York Stock Exchange in Manhattan on Monday. None of the protesters got inside the building, but at least 200 made it inside the security fence around the stock exchange where the sit-in took place. Beth Miller, political director of Jewish Voice for Peace, says they were there to demand the U.S. government stop sending bombs to Israel and stop profiting off of Israel's genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. A handful of counter-protesters waved Israeli flags and tried to shut down the pro-Palestinian chants. Julie Walker, New York.
Stocks added to records today. The S&P up 0.8%. The Dow 201 points or 0.5, both new highs. The Nasdaq gained 0.9%. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for...
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Scattered showers and storms tonight with a low temperature of 41 degrees. Tuesday, showers and storms with a high temperature of 51 degrees. Could see a bit of heavy rainfall. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature around 56. Thursday, sunny, 63 degrees. Friday, sunshine with a high of 66. Saturday, sunny, temperatures climbing back into the 70s with a high of 71. Sunday, sunny with a high of 73. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 55.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, hello, and thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. And we want to say hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We are, of course, here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. You can also watch our live stream on Facebook or on Twitter, and we'd love to have you join the conversation anytime. You can call or text to 773-763-9278. Again, that's 773-763-9278. And I'm excited to welcome to the show right now our first guest of the hour, Yolanda Andrazo, who's the executive director of One AIM Illinois. You can go to oneaimillinois.org for more information. But first, let's talk to Yolanda and catch up with how things are going. Hi, Yolanda. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Patty. How are you?
I'm good. It's a busy election season, and I know that we're focusing in our mission to end gun violence, and it's really it's a big topic of conversation. Are people talking to you more and more about how this is their number one or two issue is gun violence?
Yes. They're talking to me all of the time, and I'm in the community talking about it. I was just in an event, a community event, actually this past Saturday, working with survivors and communities, giving them an update on policy priorities that our coalition is pushing, right, to make communities safer. So, you have to stay positive in this movement. It could bring you down, if you allow it to. So when you ask me how I'm doing, I say great, because I have to remain great in order to work with people to do great things, and you're a part of that greatness, Patty.
Well, Yolanda, I was just talking to the judges who are in studio running for re-election, and it does strike me that we go through a lot of the things that we absorb. Tell me, I need you to take care of yourself too, my friend. I know that the work helps you focus and you're passionate about it, but what do you do to make sure that you're taking care of yourself?
Well, I hang out with my dog. My dog, Desi. He's 2.5 right now, and I take him to the dog park, and everybody says hello to him. He centers me, because it's just for that time that I'm with him that he reminds me what life is all about, right? Which is community, building community and love.
That's so wonderful. I love that's a great. Because you need someone to help you with your heart rate, because what is hard in this area is knowing that people who are drawn to it the most have been directly affected. That's not the case. I'm not saying everybody. I have not been, and I'm committed to ending gun violence. But it's hard to know that it almost has to hit close to home for people to wake up sometimes, and that's got to be a lot too. Is it?
It can be, yes. You know, One Aim Illinois, we have a survivors council where we bring together survivors from different groups from across Illinois to meet and just be together. And we had an event last year, and a young woman lost her son to gun violence, and she found us. And found some direction and some hope by being with other mothers who could just embrace her. And we had an event last week, and she had lost her second son to the epidemic, and just the pain and the trauma that her family has undergone, including her husband who was with her and her mother. And we went around the entire room. There were over 30 participants there who had all been impacted by gun violence, either shot themselves and survived or had loved ones taken to it. But it's the survivors' passion, taking that pain, right, and saying, I'm going to make purpose out of it, and I'm going to dedicate my life to ensure that another parent doesn't have to endure and withstand the pain that I have endured. So when it seems hard to me, I think about them. And when they say things can change, you know, you have to believe them, and you have to fight as they are along with them.
I think that's the nail on the head. Is there? I feel like there are people who just think, well, there's nothing we can do, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yes, I'm right here in Illinois and working with survivors who help make that story that story personal by sharing their stories. We've had tremendous progress over the years, passing life-saving pieces of legislation. We passed in 2023. We passed the Ghost Guns ban, and then after that, we passed the Protect Illinois Communities Act, which bans assault weapons. Shortly after that, we passed the Firearm Industry Accountability Act, which holds rogue gun manufacturers accountable. There is definitely still more work to be done, but you look at, past wins and you realize we can have future wins. For example, we're working on right now something called our Safe at Home campaign, which includes the Safe Firearms Storage Act and the Lost and Stolen Firearms Reporting Bill, Karina's Bill, the Homicide Victims Families Rights Act, and the Homicide Data Transparency Bill. So that's what we're working on this legislative session, and there are other policy priorities.
And I think that's something that, you know, it is a tangible. It is having those conversations with your own elected to see where they are, what their stance is on these bills. Tell us a little bit about what people can do, even from home, whether it's calling their electeds, making an appointment, emailing them, going to Springfield, joining us. Tell folks the ways in which they can be involved and have an impact.
Definitely. Well, you can have an impact in person by joining organizations like One Aim Illinois, our coalition. You can join our coalition by going to oneaimil.org. That's oneaimil.org. Sign up for the coalition, and you can go with us on advocacy days. You go to Springfield. We have also local advocacy days. You can meet with your lawmakers, tell them what you think about gun violence. You can also participate in digital advocacy actions by also going to our website and click on Take Action, and that will take you to our action page. You can email, call, text your lawmakers, and it's set up so that all you have to do is put in your zip code, and all of the information will populate. So that's like something simple that you can do to get involved right now.
And here, look, we're having the conversation now for folks who are like, liberals are coming to take our guns, and they always tell us when it's too soon. Even though every single day there are mass shootings and there are people who are victims of gun violence. There's never a time when there's apparently a safe space for us to talk about it, and yet we are never safe, are we?
We're never safe. And it reminds me of when, during the civil rights movement, when they told our activists then, it's too soon, right? It's too soon for equal voting rights. It's too soon to end Jim Crow. Right now they will say it's too soon to end gun violence. It's not the right time. Oh, it's a mass shooting. It's not the right time to ask for legislation, to demand the legislation to be passed. What better time could there be right? No, it's not time to wait. We have to act now. And as I'm saying, some of these policy priorities that did not pass last session, we are hopeful that our legislators will pass some critical pieces of legislation during veto session coming up, like in November.
Okay. So what day is is there an action day in November?
Yes, we
Excellent.
are. We're having a digital day of action on November 17th. You can also sign up for that by going to oneaimil.org. That's oneaimil.org, and sign up for our coalition, and you will get our updates for that. You can call your legislator, text your legislator, email your legislator. Also, we have a Twitter campaign that's going to be happening. So there's so many ways to get involved. Patty, you were saying sometimes it feels like, and I'm sure you've heard it and people have said it to me, gun violence will never end. I talk about our mission to end gun violence, and they're like, wow, well, you'll always have a job.
Right.
My goal is to make sure I do not have a job. It's possible. It is absolutely possible to prevent gun violence. And survivors will tell you it doesn't have to be this way. And they have seen change happen over the years. But it's through relentlessness. You have to be relentless, and you have to believe in your heart that it can change. And you have to advocate for change. So it's not just thinking it, it's actually being active in the movement to end gun violence. And we need everyone to join our movement so that we have as many people on our side as the other side.
Outstanding. And another way you can get involved is joining us for our fundraiser. Tell folks about the event we have coming up after the election. So it'll be a great time to gather and celebrate, because that's how optimistic I am. Tell folks about that event.
I'm so excited. It is our second annual fundraiser entitled Stronger Together, celebrating over 50 years of coalition building in the fight to end gun violence, emceed by you, our very own board member, Patti Vasquez. This event is going to be held on November 14th. That's at Hubbard Inn, 6:30 to 9 o'clock. And it's a celebration because we have to celebrate the work. Celebrate coalition building, individuals, communities, organizations coming together to solve something that's larger than ourselves. Because when gun violence occurs, it doesn't just impact one person, it reverberates through families, neighborhoods, communities. And it can't be solved by just one person. We have to come together for the safety of our children and our families and communities. And at this fundraiser, we will be honoring 3 individuals who I have grown to respect and love so much, who have been in this movement to end gun violence for decades. Delphine Cherry, Alice Thomas Norris, Tim Daly, and one organization, one coalition member, Live Free Illinois. Delphine Cherry was the 2023 winner of the inaugural Delphine Cherry Relentlessness Award, which is named after her, following the murders of her two children, Tyler and Thaisa. Delphine has become a relentless advocate in the movement. So please come and celebrate with Delphine. And then Alice Thomas Norris is the 2024 winner of the Delphine Cherry Relentlessness Award for her decades of relentless dedication to the fight in gun violence. Her daughter, Rolanda, was taken to gun violence 31 years ago. 31 years ago, she's been in this fight, and the case is still unsolved to this day. And Tim Daly will also be recognized for his advocacy in this gun violence prevention space. He is the director of the Joyce Foundation's Gun Violence Prevention and Justice Reform Program, focused on building safe and just communities. And Live Free Illinois, like I said, our coalition partner, will also be recognized for their work, along with elected officials who are going to be joining us. They'll be recognized Commissioner Monica Gordon and Highland Park Mayor Rodering. And the musical entertainment can't stop without talking about. We're going to be DJ'd by the famous Evie the Cool, food, cocktails, mixing, mingling, coalition building included, and again, emceed by the fabulous Patti Vasquez. So we're really hoping people come out for this. You can go to our website, oneaimil.org. That's oneaimil.org to buy your ticket today or sponsor us. Sponsor us. Your attendance directly supports the movement to end gun violence, and people like Delphine Cherry and Alice Thomas Norris and other survivors who will be in attendance.
Outstanding. And the Hubbard Inn is such a fun and wonderful venue. So I'm excited to gather with folks. Would love to see some listeners at the event and hang out with you and talk about, the days after the election, talk about how we can work together in the mission to end gun violence. Again, we've been talking about the One Aim Illinois fundraiser coming up on October 14th. And I want to thank Yolanda Androzo from One Aim, our executive director. I am on the board, full disclosure. It's an honor to work with you, and I'm really excited about what we can do, and ready to roll my sleeves up in any way I can with you.
Well, you have been rolling your sleeves up with us, Patti. We really appreciate everything you do as a board member and everything that you do to get the word out and the work that you do right here on your show. So I am so appreciative of being able to talk about our fundraiser and our policy priorities with your community. And everybody come experience Patti. Please experience Patti Vasquez at our fundraiser.
Excellent. Yolanda, we'll get you on in a couple weeks, and we'll have a couple more conversations, and hopefully you can come in studio sometime when your schedule allows. Okay, my friend?
Would love to. I will. Thank you, Patti.
Thank you. Go get him. I know you're busy. Appreciate your time, my friend. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation. The phone lines are open. I know we got a couple of listeners on hold. I'll get to you in just a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Join WCPT for an election night watch party on Tuesday, November 5th in Elmhurst. The WCPT watch party will be hosted by Bricklayers Union ADC 1 of Illinois, Union Proud Warrior, State Reps Diane Blair Sherlock and Ann Stava Murray, County Board Member Liz Chaplin, and Victory Fund radio host Ken Mejia Beal. The watch party starts at 2 p.m. with Joan Esposito beginning live coverage at Bricklayers Union Hall, 660 North Industrial Drive, near York and 290 in Elmhurst. At 5 p.m., Patti Vasquez will be joined by Richard Chu on the live broadcast. They'll continue through 10 p.m. with up-to-date election results and special guests. WCPT Election Night coverage is sponsored by Fazio Insurance, an independent insurance agency serving residents and businesses in Will and DuPage counties since 1953. For more information, contact Paul Fazio at 815-727-2611 or at fazioinsurance.com. Register to attend the WCPT Watch Party on our Facebook event page.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. Okay, I am a very busy working mom. And you know what I avoided doing for far too long? Getting my money organized. Making sure my family knows where everything is. And what they can do if, God forbid, something happens to me and I can't manage my own money. The Securities and Exchange Commission, of all places, recommends these steps. Organize all your important documents. Keep them up to date. Put them in one place. Number 2, tell your trusted family or a trusted friend where to find all your accounts and assets. Ideally, give one of them a copy of that list. And lastly, if you've got a financial professional, make sure they know your emergency contacts. It's not rocket surgery, but sometimes it's hard to sit down and do this stuff. I hope this reminder helps. For more everyday money tips, check out Work Money Media on YouTube. Till next time, this is Carrie Joy saying, take good care.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Hey gang, there's nothing more refreshing after a few hours of door knocking for my favorite progressive candidate than an ice-cold Biden beer or Tammy Shandy. You can now find all the tasty progressive beers of Minocqua Brewing Company throughout the Chicagoland area at wonderful partners like Lions Beverage Express in Schaumburg, Foremost Liquors and Displays, Eastside Cafe Coffee and Wine Bar in East Dundee, and Rand's Liquors on Clark in Chicago. Don't forget to drink and vote responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at
at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Okay, just want to take another quick moment to thank folks who came out over the weekend. It was a packed house, door knocking in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We had over, I would say 80% of the volunteers yesterday were from the Chicagoland area. You guys are doing an amazing job. I know that Operation Swing State, Indivisible Illinois, and Indivisible Chicago is sending folks out. We met a family that is driving all over the country. They're from New York. They were door knocking in Kenosha yesterday. They're going to Pennsylvania. They're going to Ohio. So I'm not the only one that's out there. Folks are like, "Oh, Patty, I don't know how you do it." I'm like, I don't know how not to do this, because this is the skill set I have, is ringing someone's door and just sort of talking to them on their porches. It's like a different show every 30 seconds, folks. I was built for this. So I want to let you know I will be in Kenosha every Sunday through the end of the election, through November 5th. Every Sunday, I'll be joining the noon crew. So folks have been asking me how to connect with us. I want to thank the couple from Oak Park that also met us in Elkhorn. I'll also be returning to Elkhorn. Just got to work out that date. Oh, on October 26th, I'll be in Janesville, kicking off that volunteer crew as well. So it's Fibs for Wisconsin, folks. Come get your Fibs for Wisconsin buttons at those locations too. And maybe we'll have a nice refreshment from Monaco Brewing Company. Just saying. Dave in Hoffman Estates, my friend, what's on your mind?
Hey, happy Indigenous Peoples Day, first of all.
Happy Indigenous People Day, my friend. Still got to do my paperwork on my mom's ancestors, because she's half Native and I am 25%. Yep.
Earlier, when you were talking with the judges and that about the saying that you go to the doors and they had said I have to study some more, study whatever. Do you ever think? Do you think they're just kind of doing that to blow you off?
Well, I don't actually, as you know, I have a bit of a irreverent streak in me, so I try not to be too passive aggressive with people when I was a candidate and saying I'm right here. Meaning they didn't ask me any questions and just said they would research all the candidates, and it's like, well, what So I would try to prompt them a little bit, like, what's important to you? What are some of the things that keeps you awake at night? Is it crime? Is it healthcare? Is it your property taxes? Like, you can ask me about any of those issues. I'm ready to go, kind of a thing. I think they don't, it's either a brush off for sure. But saying I have to do some research, just they're not hearing themselves. I don't think. Yeah.
I had asked you before too about because I asked it so late about with that when you're doing the doors, the people. Have you noticed more of them? Answering or not answering with these ring doorbells.
Well, the thing about the ring bell is that's just an opportunity for me to do another performance. So I do. I'm like, hi, I'm Patty, with the Walworth County Dems, just stopping by and talk to voters about the candidates in this election. And sometimes my talking to the camera brings people out on the porch. So I think not talking to it is weird to not at least say hi, just stopping by about the election. I would encourage any door knocker to, even if you don't know whether or not it's on, there are cameras all around on people's porches these days. So I would still say hi and why you stopped by. Otherwise, and they might see the lit, but the postcards might blow away, or, they might miss them. Someone throws it away before they see it. And then they just have a stranger creeping around their property.
Yeah. No, I was just curious, now when these are almost pretty commonplace now, from back in the day. But anyway, so you can get to the others.
Do you have one? Do you have a ring bell? Or
no, we don't. No. I told you I'm an anachronism. I'm talking to you from a wall phone, So.
Oh, a house phone, a landline. You have a landline. All right.
I use them when I do my ordering something with a credit card, because they said years ago they kind of harder to tap into than cell phone. So anyway,
okay.
I was going to mainly ask you was where Trump is talking about after he gets a few wins again, he's going to go after his political enemies and that, and he was planning to use either the National Guard or the military to arrest these political. And my question: how does this not violate the Posse Comitatus Act? And where you can't use military to arrest these American citizens.
I don't know. What was that act again? The Posse Act? Posse
Comitatus Act.
all your Latin there, Dave?
That's what they call it. That's what they call it.
I got Posse Comitatus as a United States federal law signed on June 18th, 1878 by President Rutherby Hayes. Interesting. All right. The act originally applied only to the United States Army, but a subsequent amendment in 1956 expanded its scope to the United States Air Force. In 2021, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022 expanded the scope of the act to cover. Anyway, sorry. Just reading the law. Yeah.
But, because National Guard at the end, you're the Army National Guard or whatever. But I'm just curious how they get away with that. And it's like, when he said he plans to do it on Election Day, doesn't he kind of mean like Inauguration Day? Now, Election Day is November 5th, right?
Look. Here's what we know, unfortunately, and the terrifying thing is that the Supreme Court is compromised. He has the House. I don't know what they don't care about normalcy, about tradition or our laws. They don't, saying, I'm going to round up the leftists and saying that we should have, basically a day of purge where you can execute shoplifters. All bets are freaking off with these guys. I don't know how else to get this across to people. But they think we're over exaggerating, and we see it happen at a rally. There was some woman kind of heckled him, and he invited the audience to beat her. Right? I mean, what do people want more? To see that this guy does not have your best interests at heart. He will hurt Americans just because they don't bow and kiss his feet. I don't get it. God, you made me angry, Dave. What?
Sorry, he'll have a public stoning, or something.
Yeah.
But my thought was where, when he's battling this kind of stuff, where's Merrick Garland or Dick Durbin on the, they're on the judicial, and then of course Garland being the AG. I mean, you're letting this guy, he's basically being either a threat to society or at least an enemy of the state, talking that kind of stuff.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started. I'm trying to find the audio clip of it's namby-pamby. They're namby-pambies about Dick Durbin and Merrick Garland. Namby-friggin' Sorry.
Exactly. My point. But, anywho, that's what, just kind of thinking about that kind of stuff. How can he get away? I mean, of course, how could he get away with most of the stuff he's been doing? It's like he's pushing, he's pushing that envelope, and he knows nobody's going to do nothing, so that, I don't know.
Yep, no consequences. This is what happens when there's no consequences. This is why it makes me crazy when people are all, ready to throw away the key on people who commit violent crimes, which look, as we talk to the judges, there is a path for rehabilitation, course correction, but we don't even bat an eye when there are corporations and rich people robbing us blind, whether it's wage theft or, evading taxes or manipulating the system, being able to get away with whatever they want in the billions and trillions of dollars, but they're mad about the cost of crimes, street crimes, which is like $400 million. Okay, you're making me yell again, Dave. Let me go to Jim. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you go.
but what I'm saying is these guys keep getting away with it, and there's no consequences, and I'm fed up with it. All right, thanks, Dave.
Yep, have a good one.
Take care. Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patty. The economist from the University of Chicago won the Nobel Peace Prize, and he was shocked by it. But he had a 1-minute soundbite. He said it's easier to survive in an open and free society. Well, that's what I thought we had up until Nazi Fagin came down the elevator. The other thing is, Patty, what about the door knockers? I picture this.
Yeah.
I imagine a GOP door knocker has got a blue blazer, a red tie, and a Bible tucked under his arm with Mike Johnson's picture on the front of it. Because I think Mike Johnson thinks he wrote the Bible, as far as I can tell.
Well, here, funny you should mention the GOP door knockers because you go ahead.
Yeah.
We cross paths with.
Go ahead, Betty. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Any dust up.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should ask because I do try to steer clear of any engagement with. This is the first time I have seen GOP door knockers, and there were 3 on the turf that Adam Selzer and I were walking, and I caught a just a little bit of the conversation. They have an amendment in Wisconsin that they're trying to shove down people's throats to say, this whole language about how making sure that illegals don't vote. It's already illegal for people who aren't here legally or don't have citizenship. It's already illegal for them to vote. And Adam started yelling like down the street, "It's already illegal! You're just..." I was like, "Okay, Adam, let's not draw their attention." But to describe them would be 3 women. I would say 1 woman and probably about my age in her 50s, and then 2 elderly ladies, and just sort of definitely Karen energy. Like, I want to see the manager kind of energy. That's I know what's right for everyone kind of energy, and not that that's all. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, no, I know the personality well, but now that amendment, that's just. I remember an old doctor that I knew. He said, if you want to confuse the issue, muddy the waters. Just muddy the waters enough that nobody can figure out what the heck is going on. But that's what that amendment is. It's just an attempt to make people confused. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
But
it can even be more nefarious than that, because some of the Republicans tried to tuck it into the budget that you need to show different types of. You had to show like your birth certificate and your photo ID, which would disenfranchise married women who've changed their names, because many women who take their husbands' names don't have an ID that matches their birth certificate. So there's some scary stuff in what they're trying to do around the country.
Yeah. They're wearing this party. I've never seen it so ambitious the way it is.
Yes.
I mean, they're attacking like every freedom you could possibly think of. And, what happened to live and let live? I mean, apparently isn't anything in their vocabulary. But I've never seen an attempt to do this. The overturning Roe was insane.
Yep.
Attacking how about the Supreme Court enhancing the executive power? They're thinking they're rolling the dice, thinking that this nut's going to win. That's what really spooky. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's exactly right.
That should be investigated. Anyway, Patty, thanks a million, sir. Have a good
Jim.
night. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You too. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, and I'll tell you how you can win a pair of tickets to come see me and Jerry Walski at CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook this weekend. You have to tune in later in the week, but that's going to be part of it. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Scattered showers and storms tonight with a low temperature of 41 degrees. Tuesday, showers and storms with a high temperature of 51 degrees. Could see a bit of heavy rainfall. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature around 56. Thursday, sunny, 63 degrees. Friday, sunshine with a high of 66. Saturday, sunny, temperatures climbing back into the 70s with a high of 71. Sunday, sunny with a high of 73. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 54.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT Willow Springs, is powered by ComEd. Visit ComEd.com/clean. Hi, this is Joan Esposito. I want you to join me in Tinley Park with Southland Friends of Labor candidates for the November 5th election and local labor leaders. Meet me and Southland Friends of Labor board members and candidates this Tuesday at Heat and Frost Insulators Local 17, 18520 Spring Creek Drive in Tinley Park. We'll have snacks, beverages, free t-shirts, and yard signs while they last. Meet Judge John Anderson, a candidate for appellate judge, and State Representative Harry Benton running for re-election. Also speaking will be labor leaders Bill Hinks of Sprinkler Fitters Local 281 and Tom McGrath of Insulators Local 17. The Southland Friends of Labor election preview, 2 to 5 p.m. Tuesday at Heat and Frost Insulators Local 17 near the intersection of Harlem and 183rd on Spring Creek Drive in Tinley Park. For more information, visit their website, southlandfriendsoflabor.com.
Is credit card or other debt making it difficult to pay your rent or mortgage? Home insecurity is often the unintended consequence of an inability to pay mounting credit card debt, student loans, or medical debt. But by working with a nonprofit credit counselor, you can avoid or reduce the risk of eviction or foreclosure while tackling debt for good. For more information about how nonprofit credit counseling can help, visit nfcc.org. Made possible in part by the nonprofit Wells Fargo Foundation.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Hey there, it's your guy Warren Price from European and U.S. Collision Repair, a division of Technocraft Body Shops. We specialize in automobile and truck repair as well as normal automobile maintenance. With our highly skilled technicians and environmentally friendly materials, we strive for quality. Call 773-248-1200. That's 773-248-1200 or EuropeanUS.com.
Gwen Levy and the Breakdown. She recently won an award for her music, so congratulations to our friend Gwen Levy. So many great, I think, artists putting out wonderful work. I was laughing because I don't wish ill on people, but Schadenfreude. Paul, have you seen? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch you off guard, Paul. By the way, first of all, is the game still going?
I stopped watching once I started working on your show.
Oh, no. I just want to know who's winning.
Oh, I think it's over. Yeah, I think I had a notification that the Mets won.
Oh, man.
But I've been focused on your show ever since.
Oh, no. I'm not asking
That's the right answer, right? That's the...
Stop.
Okay.
How was it a good game?
Honestly, I didn't see the end of it. But so... What I watched from earlier, it seemed like the Mets went up like super early, like first pitch of the game, scored a bunch of runs in the second inning, and then never looked back, but the Dodgers chipped away at it. So it was a bullpen game for the Dodgers, so I expected it to go this way.
And
but now we're guaranteed a Game 5 on Friday.
That's true. So who you rooting for?
I think Dodgers, but I don't really care either way. I mean, we're probably going to get our Dodgers-Yankees World Series or our Yankees-Mets
that'd
World
be huge.
Series.
When's the last time that happened? Dodgers-Yankees or Dodgers-Mets?
Last time it happened was 81.
Holy crike! What?
And it is the most times teams have faced each other in the World Series. Like this will be the 12th incarnation of a Dodgers-Yankees World Series.
Right, because they used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers, so they probably played them back in the day, too.
Yep, yeah.
Okay, so now I root for teams that my friends root for. Does that make sense? So I have friends that are Kansas City Royals fans, so that's going to be my team. My team first was...
They're long gone.
They already lost?
Yeah,
so
out.
The teams that I was sympathetic for my friends, which were the Brewers, I knew that was long gone. When did the Royals get knocked out? I wasn't paying attention.
I think Friday. The Yankees knocked them out.
Now I feel like my judges who are like, what happened at Coachella? I'm like, what? I totally missed that. All right, so we're down to the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers. Who else we got?
The Guardians.
Oh, Cleveland's in it.
Yep.
It always takes me that long to go, what? Oh, right.
Hey,
yes.
Good on you to know that the Guardians were the former Cleveland Indians.
Correct. Yes. And that's fantastic. By the way, Major League is one of my favorite movies. And you know that our friend Skip Kaparis, who plays Monty, and were you here when Monty was here?
I wasn't here when he was here, but I know Skip. He's
Isn't that wild?
He's awesome.
All right. So now that throws it off for me. Who do I still kind of want the Dodgers.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, some consider them the National League Yankees, so it depends on what your thoughts are on evil empires winning championships.
Right. And again, like some things are just like from your child. Like for me, my childhood, one of my heroes as a kid was Fernando Valenzuela. And so my dad was Irish, but he took me to see Fernando, and he brought with my dad hated the Cubs. I think we've covered this.
And the first baseman that Cavaretta
told him to go F himself, and then my dad got smacked by his mom when he asked her what that word meant. Yep. So he hated the Cubs for the rest of his life. But he took me to a Cubs game to cheer on Fernando Valenzuela, and he brought a sombrero. And every time Fernando took the mound, my dad would, stand up with his sombrero. I have an autographed baseball from Fernando Valenzuela.
Very cool.
I threw the ball up to they have like that walkway. And I threw him a ball and a pen, and he signed my ball, and I still have it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like that. So I think for me, that's just that. Although Tommy Lasorda basically worked him to death. He overpitched him, and that was he ended up with the Orioles, I think. It might have been the last team he was with.
Yeah, you could be right. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. And he was immortalized, though, in the film Bull Durham when Susan Sarandon was talking about his technique for pitching in the lizard eye thing. Did you see Bull Durham?
Yeah, I love Bull Durham. That's my favorite baseball movie.
It's one of my favorite movies. The whimsy in it. That's the best way for me to explain it. Like, when they're like, we need a break. He's like, I could get us a rain out.
It turns on the
classic
fountains. Yeah.
So at any rate, I forgot why I started asked you. I have no.
You got distracted by the baseball game that I left on in there.
Schadenfreude. No. I was. That was. Please. I clearly I love baseball, so we're good there.
Awesome.
Yes. So I dated a boy in college. I also know more baseball history than I do of present day baseball. To be fair,
that's really cool.
That's a boyfriend. He was. I can't believe I'm dating a girl who knows that the Georgia Peach was Ty Cobb, right? Like that kind of stuff. Like I used to know like Shoeless Joe, Napa Joel. So like I know like deep cuts.
Wow, yeah, you really know them. Yeah, the Cleveland Naps and where they got their name. Yeah,
just saying. Anyway, so I don't wish ill on people. This is to come back to what I was going to ask you. So have you seen the footage of the people stranded in the desert going to? Oh, you haven't seen Google,
going to the Trump rally? No, I have not seen.
Trying to leave, right? And they're like, there's something criminal going on here, and they're trying to blame the mayor. But like clearly the campaign, like they just wanted to cut corners and dismissed. They didn't want the buses to hang out for folks. And people were not allowed to get any other way of transportation to the rally. Yeah. 5 miles from the rally point to their cars. And there was one bus for thousands of people.
It's a meeting in the desert on a 100-degree day.
It was 93 degrees. He doesn't care. And they still, it'll be a conspiracy. It was that the mayor, conspired to have the buses dismissed, whatever. It's like, okay, you know what? Even if it was that, so then don't go if we're going to do these horrible things. They're putting so many people's lives in danger. Have you seen it in North Carolina? FEMA had to withdraw from a town because there were death threats. The militia was showing up. Like, what is wrong with these people? I mean, I can't.
I don't even know how to give you an answer to that. It's every time that one of these things happens, it's a militia steps up or the egress or the planning of the Democrats or the Secret Service get questioned. It's never anything that Trump does wrong or never any logistical nightmare that he created. It's always somebody else's fault.
Well, there's a lot of folks on social media because now it really is. Like, I can't watch the news anymore because of the way they do. Like, I can't not see it anymore. Well, they'll show a clip of Donald Trump and not even say he lied the entire time or he makes absolute no sense. He's just spewing gibberish, right? And somehow, it always has to be how does Harris respond to that instead of fundamentally what people need, the government to do right in our lives. Like, seriously. People snap out of it. So I end up like and like when you consume something on TikTok, you do have to go, okay, I should look into this. But there are elements to conversations that are happening that you can go, okay, this I understand, like the way Trump won in 2016, right? It was government's corrupt. Here's an outsider. He's going to drain the swamp. The Democrats aren't coming to they're not coming to Wisconsin or whatever, South Carolina. This guy's listening to us. I still don't get. I never understood the people that were fans of The Apprentice to begin with.
I don't think half of his fan base even watched that show.
I don't know, but I never understood that popularity. But I feel like the people that vote for him are the same ones that also, and forgive me if you were somebody who loved like Jerry Springer and the chaos from those kinds of shows. Like I remember thinking the only reason to watch that show is like watching Hoarders. At least I'm not that despicable.
Yeah, you feel better about yourself after that.
But even that, like, who wants to watch someone out of the superiority out of it? People love the chaos of it. They love seeing people being mean to each other, tear each other down, you know?
Yeah, but part of the fan base also thinks the WWF is real. So.
Oh, my God. Yeah, there's that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. Guys, it does help, folks, for those of you who are worried about November 5th. Is to find a way to get involved. You can go to the Patti Vasquez show page. And I know that, like, you feel like, I don't know what else to do. I get it. But just take a look. See if something speaks to you. There's no pressure. There's no harm. There's no foul. There are a lot of folks that are, my mom was with us in Elkhorn. She came to the volunteer event. We got rained on so hard in Elkhorn. It was so funny. And, yeah, we're having a blast. We're meeting voters. We're meeting listeners have been coming up. I felt very bad because we have these great Fibs for Wisconsin buttons that were designed by Hairbrained Designs. If you're not familiar, have you seen those shirts like STFU about Chicago? You don't even live here.
I haven't, but I think you were telling me about this.
My shirt that says I hate Illinois Nazis with like the Blues Brothers, they designed that. And so they designed these cool buttons. Well, 2 volunteers that had gone to Kenosha last week talked to other folks that were in Elkhorn. They're like, oh yeah, we got these Fibs for Wisconsin buttons. So they drove to Elkhorn instead of Kenosha on Saturday just for the buttons and to volunteer there. And I thought, well, I can't be stealing volunteers from Kenosha, right? And I go to Kenosha, you guys, packed house. It was incredible. It was their noon shift. Now, as a sports fan,
sure.
Do you live in an area where people even ring your bell if it's on Halloween?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So would it bother you if they ring the bell during a Bears game? Or during a game you like?
I mean, well, you're asking a guy that works weekends, so...
Yeah, that's right, you're not there for it.
Sure, okay. I've entertained people during, like our solicitors during sporting events that I wanted to watch. It depends on what they're about, what they're doing.
Right.
So I don't think it would bother me, but... if it was like a very pro-Trump Republican telling me I need to vote for him and the game's on, I'm probably going to usher him out pretty quickly.
Well, and that's the thing I'm encountering now because, like, there were very few. When I was running, there weren't that many doors that I hit that were going to be too contrary. There might be some folks who want to talk Second Amendment and things like that with me. But for the most part, because there are some union members who still vote for Democrats but are skew conservative. They want those conversations. This is the first time I'm encountering as much to this level of there's one person that maybe voted for a Democrat, but I still have to ring the bell, and then the rest of the house is all MAGA, and that's been interesting and fun. I would say it's an adventure.
They're just like, hey, your friends are here.
Right? Well, but you also don't want to out anybody. It may not even be, it may be something that someone just doesn't talk about at all.
You're like ringing the doorbell and it's like, yeah, there's a registered Democrat that might live here. Nope, no one here by that. And then like things are revealed, family secrets are given out. Like,
this is what I'm saying.
Tension at the dinner table that night.
Right? I don't want to pull any threads. So I usually put the lesser known candidate on the outside of the campaign material I hand, so you don't see Harris Walls unless you take the material from me, and then I run away as fast as possible.
I wanted to ask you though, so like you're probably doing a lot of Harris Walls, but are you also talking about Tammy Baldwin as well while you're up there?
Tammy Baldwin, and then depending on where we're knocking, so we are helping out General Assembly candidates in Elkhorn, and we're also doing Peter Barca, who's running for Congress in that part of the state. So Peter Barca, oh my God. I was so excited. There was so sometimes you can tell someone's like, what? And they're just going to take the postcards and get you off their porch. So this guy answered the door, Blackhawks hat, Blackhawks hat. I was so excited.
Yeah, Chicago win.
Right? Not only that, I told him I used to work for WGN where we carried the Blackhawks, and he was like, "Oh, you have Peter's stuff? Peter's my guy." Right? So we had a great conversation.
Very cool.
So you never know. And yesterday was all positives. I mean, like one person who was like, not right now. One person, like, I get a little brush offs, like literal, like, I'm brushing you off my porch kind of a thing. We did on Saturday have one guy, the screen doors where you can like lower the hard part of the porch door. I know I didn't need to take a break, but
oh no, I was looking up to see how the Badgers did on Saturday because I'm wondering if football affected your the responses.
That could be a good thing.
So the Packers were rolling yesterday, so I bet everyone was in a great mood. Bears won, Packers won.
Good day. This guy lowered his the porch, like that plastic part of like a screen, and he was talking to us through the porch door, and he was fine. You could tell he was a little curt. Like he was like waiting for us to like, have our communist flags unfurled. I could tell. Like he was like, "Yeah, what do you got?" That kind of thing. And I finally said, "Do you know who you're going to vote for?" He goes, "Trump all the way!" And it was so weird. I was like, "Okay, so yeah, thanks, good for you. Thanks for opening the door." Hey, he answered the door and without a weapon. I will take that. Right.
That's a win, yeah.
I am, it's so funny. I think I'm in my mindset for the next 21 days. Cause now we were mentioning before the show, you and I talked about my TikTok. I got 500 followers just because of one video with me and Adam Selzer. And one guy's like, put Trump 2024. I'm like, okie dokie, artichoke. Go in grace, my friend. Like that's going to be my tone, I think, now for the rest of the campaign to people who want to spew hate. Okie dokie, artichoke.
Just kill them with kindness.
Well, that's a little too much. Okie dokie, artichoke. That almost seems menacing. It's like one of those things that like is so syrupy, it like goes around to being aggressive.
Kill them with a mild tolerance.
Exactly. Let's wrap up. I think I'll only have a minute when we come back on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal.
Tom Hartman.
The Republican Party basically has no purpose, has no moral standing, has no core values, has no interest in actual policy debates. Basically, it's been hollowed out. Donald Trump has hollowed out this party. And all that's left is racism, homophobia, hate, and fear.
The Tom Hartman radio program. Weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
This is your WCPT Progressive Calendar. Wednesday, October 16th, the Doc C. Bracey Center for Human Reconciliation presents a virtual event, Saving Democracy in the Short and Long Term. The guest speaker is David Pepper, former Cincinnati City Councilman, chairman of the Ohio Democratic Party, and author of the books Laboratories of Autocracy and Saving Democracy. Register for the Zoom event at dcbcenter.org/events. Wednesday, October 23rd at 5:30 p.m., Aplomb Creative Salon will host a conversation with Carol Mosley Braun and theologian and social justice scholar Keith McGee, who will be discussing the new second edition publication of his book, Prophetic Justice, Race, Religion, and Politics. The event is free and open to the public and takes place in the Bridgeport Arts Corridor at 1010 West 35th Street in Chicago.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Ron, in Chicago, my screen went dead. I didn't know you were there. I'm sorry. I didn't mean you had to sit through baseball and stuff. How you doing, Ron? What's up?
Oh, yes. Trump said today in Philadelphia that he just loves black people, but he doesn't want them to vote, especially in Florida and Georgia.
Oh boy, there's a lot of conversation within and I guess from without the black communities about it's something that is kind of blowing up on social media. So I'll be curious to see how those comments play out with folks.
Yeah, and there's something he said over the weekend that didn't get any attention. That he was saying that public schools are performing a sex change operation.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people in Wisconsin, some of them who answer the doors, regretfully believe that, and that a lot of other stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you for hanging in there. I appreciate your time and your conversation. Bye. Thank you. So don't forget, all day long here, we're having these important conversations and how you can get involved. Also visit the Election Connection page on the Patti Vasquez Show page on Facebook. Follow me on TikTok because I'm doing a little more kind of vlogging about door knocking and getting out there and how you can get involved. I'm really grateful for all your support. I am at CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook this Friday and Saturday, and later in the week, I will have a pair of tickets to give away for free for CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook. It's one of the best comedy clubs in the area, so I would love to see you guys come out. And we will be in Kenosha on Saturday for the noon shift to go door knocking. Every Sunday. Every Sunday from now until the election, I will be in Kenosha every Sunday. And this Saturday, I'll be in Elkhorn. The following week on the 26th, I'll be in Janesville, and I'll keep you updated on some of the other places we'll be getting to. I know we're going to Indiana to help out Bob Durant in his county board race and doing everything we can. Oh, Garrett, if Garrett's listening, can you please resend that email about the important races? I told you last time I got it, and I did. Now I can't find it. So please, if you wouldn't mind, if you're listening, and I'll try to say it again tomorrow. Again, thank you so much, Paul, for everything. Really appreciate your work and always great talking to you, catching up on stuff. And I thank you all for joining us tonight. Of course, Randy Rhodes is up next, followed by Matt McNeil. Again, passionate, important conversations as we make it through this election season and beyond. Have a great night, everybody. This is Patti Vasquez. This Halloween, orange pumpkins are out, and WCPT and Team Hochberg are having a contest to award the most creative painted pumpkin. Paint your pumpkin any color you want.